What's up, guys? So today I ran and got a two-post lift from a guy in Green Bay. It went pretty good, offloading, unloading. Fucking went like butter, surprisingly. I'll hit you guys with a quick unboxing of what it is when it comes in packaged right here. Now I have it all kind of set up on the floor here. It comes with obviously two posts and the arms, and then just a couple of boxes here. That's going to be the cables, anchors. Oh, nice. It did come with anchors. Sick. Okay. Anchors, which look freaking long, but maybe not. Hoses, cables, safety little bar thing deals. The motor and the hydraulic reservoir in there. These are the posts. The guy at Brian's Repairables in Swamico, right north of Green Bay, is freaking awesome. Very knowledgeable on these. These were actually on sale for $300 off. So typically he said they can go all the way up to like $4 grand, but I got a promotional deal this month on these for, I think they were $28.50, and this is for the 9,000 pound, a little bit better model. All the stuff on these are a little bit better than the blue model. These are like the gray model. These are like the Master Series Titan. So it's only $50 more than the other cheaper Titan two posts. So I was pretty stoked to get a good deal on it. What's up, guys? Yeah, I finally got the lift in. It took me, I would guess, maybe like 6 hours. I would attribute like 3 hours to trying to decipher the drawings and the instruction manual. It's not very good. Some of it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, obviously it's my first install on one of these, so I mean, I came into it blind, but there's a couple things I'm gonna go over with you guys that are a little vague in the instructions that made it, some of it kind of difficult to figure out what goes where. None of it was too bad though. Just, you guys know how it goes between running for tools and drill bits and this and that, and yeah, I will go over with you guys what I did here. Okay, so first things first, in the instructions, anchors. So my floor is 4 inches thick. I personally, that's pretty thin to me to be hoisting a 9,000 pound vehicle. Granted, my car weighs half that. Bottom line is, they supplied the anchors, they're wedge style anchors, 3/4 inch. I'm not sure on the overall size, right? So initially, just to advise you guys, I've put countless anchors in my career. I've done a fair share of anchoring shit, whether it's walls, ceilings, whatever, heavy pipe. They supplied these with these washers, this lock nut, or this locking washer, fender style washer, I guess, just a flat washer, and then a nut. So what I would suggest to do is pull the lock washer off, run your nut almost to the end, and then hammer them in. It's not what I did. Typically, when I put in anchors, we run them a lot longer than they're supposed to be, so I don't have to worry about how deep it is. I drilled all the way through my concrete with the 3/4 inch hammer drill bit into the mud, so I know I'm more than far enough. Well, when I hammered them in, the directions say to run it 1/4 inch with the nut 1/4 inch from the end, right? Which typically I'll just run them tight. So I followed the directions. I left the locking washer on there and ran them in as far as I could without the shims under it, right? So in return, it must take a far distance for that wedge to actually go over the bulbed end on it. So in other words, when I went to tighten them, it pulled them out this far. In the directions it says 2 inches. If it exceeds 2 inches, they're not safe. Okay, fine. These are at like 2 1/4, 2 1/2. So instead of, I thought about this for a while. They all torque to 85 foot-pounds, which is what the directions require, right? It says right here, torque anchors to 85 foot-pounds. If anchors do not tighten to 85 foot-pounds, installation torque, replace concrete under each column with a 4x4 by 12 inch thick. So here it says a minimum thickness of 4 inch, and then instead of that, they want you to do 12 inches thick. It's like, okay. Anyways, long story short, I don't like how far they're out. They're supposed to be embedded 3 1/4 inches, which also says here in the directions, embedment of 3 1/4. Now, keep in mind, I had all of these in the floor by the time I realized they were pulling them out. By the time I torqued them, they were pulling them out 2 1/2 inches. So I talked to the guy I got the lifts from. He's not sure. He can't open a boxed item to check how long they are. So I could call Titan and see what they provide with the lifts. Titan might be able to give me an answer on actually the overall length of the anchor, because then I would be able to do the math, obviously, of what is actually embedded in here. They all torque to 85. Am I worried about it? Not really. Just to be safe, I decided to do a little something kind of little, not sketchy, but so in the heat of the moment, I wanted to get this done. I'm on very limited time constantly. Obviously, I keep saying that, but I'm always in a hurry to do everything right. Like, for example, I didn't even put these little cups on the square side so they sit flush when I initially lifted my car, because I'm constantly in a hurry. Some of this stuff wasn't even on here when I lifted my car. I just wanted to get it in the air just because, I've been waiting to get this up. So in route of the anchors being screwed up, not screwed up, but somewhat sketch, I ran to Home Depot. I wanted to put a piece of tube up here, but I sold the last couple of sticks that I had. So I ran to Home Depot and grabbed two 10-foot chunks of Schedule 40 2-inch and just like half-ass MIG welded the bottom of them. All they're there to do is keep these from coming in, right? I mean, that's really the only thing I'm concerned about. That's the other concerning thing with the 4-inch minimum concrete. I mean, and this is residential floor concrete at that. So who knows what the strength is of this concrete. So I said, screw it, Everywhere else is closed as far as metal supplier goes. I said, screw it. I'm just going to run to Home Depot. I know these 2-inch pieces of pipe will hold, I would guess, 2,000, 3,000 pounds at least. Crushing force, that's each probably. I mean, it takes a lot to bend those Schedule 40 pieces of pipe. So I just put them up there on both sides. It doesn't look the greatest, but this way it's never gonna fold in, I mean, for the 20 minutes it took me to do that, I never have to worry about this thing folding in, no matter what I put on it. So it's one of them things where it's like not ideal. It looks kind of janky. Maybe I'll throw some paint on it, but realistically, I don't give a shit, I mean, as long as the thing is safe. I got dogs and kids and family and all sorts of crap running through here all the time, so just make it safe, man. I don't even care. So yeah. So aside from the anchors, I measured here from the wall on both corners. I have mine at 8 inches, right? 8 inches from side of plate to wall. So that way, I mean, I was worried about being able to do axles and things like that, but let me grab a tape measure really quick and show you guys how much room I actually have. I know there's a lot of you guys out here that are trying to figure out how close you can put it and still be able to utilize it, you know, like normal. So the wall, they said in the directions, 8-inch minimum to the stud. So that's why I just did 8 inches from the plate to the wall, because then it's really like 8.5, almost 9, probably to the center of the stud or the anchor. So it moved a little bit, but I mean, you're looking at 8 inches. So enlighten with that in mind. So I probably got, I don't know if you guys can see, this tape measure is being stupid. So I mean, if you guys can see, I got like, I don't know, 43 inches to axle, to the end of my axle, probably in my wheel. So I mean, there's a ton of room. Granted, it's a Mustang, so it's not the widest thing ever, but there's a ton of room in here. More, like, I was worried about how much room it was going to be, but I mean, there's tons of room in here. You can get a welder in here, ladder to start the car, run it, whatever, you know. So, all right. So there's that. I thought this was cool. It comes with these little rubber, you know, some of this shit, like these right here, these, I had no idea where they went. I had to look at a picture. There you guys go, if you're wondering. And then these take the long Allens that they give you in the box. There are 2 little Allen head bolts that go on there. They're pretty much door savers. I didn't know where those went. I was kind of confused on what those were. Had to look up pictures, so there you guys go. Your lock mechanism is in here. So let me give you guys a rundown of that too. So in the directions, it says to put the lock mechanism on, like, one of the first steps, okay? There's one in this box in here, you know, that holds your little cable system. That's pretty simple to put together, I guess, for the most part. There's a picture right on the side of the lift that tells you how to do it. There's one down here, which the cable just runs on this lever, up through here, down, through your bottom, around those. There's 4 pulleys. Then there's one right here. It's another safety cable pulley. And then obviously you have one in here that holds the lock that goes in and out. They want you to put those on like early. Don't put them on. I would leave those off for last, absolute last. There's no reason to try to put them on. When you go to put the cable on, you actually can't get the end of the cable because it's a solid stud on the end of the cable. You can't get it in here and around the wheel correctly without pulling this wheel out, pulling the cable out here, putting it around the wheel, sending it through, and then bolting the pulley on. So leave your safety pulleys off until, you know, you're ready to get to that point. When it actually shows you how to route it, which is later in the instructions. So I wouldn't worry about that. You could do that last after you literally have everything else done. So safety pulleys, leave them off. Anchors, pull the locking washer out, run them all the way to the tip. Instead of leaving a 1/4 inch, hammer them all the way in. Okay, those are 2 things that are important that next time if I put another one in, I would do. And what else? I'm trying to think. Other than that, pretty much everything is self-explanatory. The other thing that really screws you too that I struggled with is these pulleys have this flat side. I don't know if you guys can see it here. This flat side, okay? That needs to go down, obviously. When you go to put this cable in, when you slide the cable in, because the cable's over here, right? You want to put this down and then slide the cable in and push this down, this back cable down so it runs the radius of the pulley. That's kind of a pain in the butt. Another thing I noticed, especially on this side. I don't remember if the other side's similar, but I don't know if you guys can see that. When you go to put that cable, the carriage cable, I guess you'd call it, it actually, they almost touch. Like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but they almost touch back there. So another reason why, I don't know why they would advise you to put that safety, that white plastic safety pulley. I don't know why they would advise you to put that in there, because you can't get the cable in. I fought that for like 10 minutes. I'm like, what the hell? I got a light on it. And I'm like, oh yeah, no shit. Why is that in there? Another reason. Why do they want you to put that in early? Absolutely not. No point. So yeah, you just have your two cables that run up to the carriage in there. I can let the car down and I'll go over kind of how they how these are actually routed, because I had no idea before I did this. So yeah, that's another thing. Let's go over here. I mean, once this comes off, it really wasn't even important to me to take it off for you guys, because it just, you can tell what's going on right here. Carriage cable, safety cable, carriage cable. And then this is just that hydraulic line that runs all the way across the bottom, really easy. I think they're like 17 millimeter size hex on there. Same thing over here. You guys can tell that plastic pulley, if that's in there, you won't be able to get that carriage cable on. So, really stupid. Yeah, I will go ahead and run the car down, and then I'll show you guys kind of how they're bolted into the carriage itself. Okay, so my car's down. Okay, so when they send you this whole carriage assembly, each post has one cable in it, right? Because you have your two cables here. So you pretty much, they're just coiled up in here. You pull them out. This one is the ones that go from the top down and bolt in. Those ones, they have pre-torqued and set in there for you. Then it's just coiled. So you run your cable over that top pulley up there. And then it comes down and you just fish it all the way around the back. It just hangs where it's supposed to go. And then it goes down through there and then back up. For example, this one looks the exact same on the other side. Runs back up right there, and you gotta grab it down in there, and then you grab it, you pull it up through that hole, and then you put both your nuts on there. Which the directions, also another issue, the directions don't really say that you need your normal nut and your jam nut here. It does kind of later in the paragraph, but initially when I read it, it didn't say. So I had one on the bottom and one on the top because I thought we were gonna like lock them onto this. But I guess after thinking about it, it does make sense because your tension is pulling down on that cable. So that's another thing. I gotta tighten these up too, the jam nuts. So yeah, that's another thing. They're identical. They both just go up over the pulley and down through the plate, around the other side, and then they come up and lock into here. This is already stationary, all torque done. They do all that. Here's your little safety wheel. This is another one right here. These just bolt on with these two bolts, right? Well, you can't get, again, the end of this stud that's on the end of the safety cable. You can't get it through this metal part. I don't think you guys will be able to see. But that plastic wheel is so tight to that damn metal part, you can't get the stud part of the cable on the end through there. So again, there's no reason to put those on. You're going to have to pull the cable out the hole, pull the wheel off with the little snap ring that's on there. You pull the plastic wheel off, round the cable on the wheel, then put the wheel on, then put the snap ring on. So that's just, it's another thing, you know, it's just directions. You know, you guys know how they are. They're not always the greatest. Another difference with this master style lift is that this safety locking bar right here, it's hard to see it, but that's where your safety slides up and then it goes over your lever, right? So on the Master Series, it goes all the way up and it actually sits higher.
which will go through my ceiling if I run it up that high, but I don't think I'll ever run it up that high. Granted, I put it in between the studs. Stud here by the light, and there's a stud there by where the door holds up. So it'll just make its own damn hole, which I could care less. So just something to keep in mind for the Master Series. It does go up 10 inches. This bar, you know, you can see it here where it starts with the carriage. The carriage probably runs obviously flush to the top of that plate on the post, but this safety bar goes right through it and goes up 10 inches. So another thing to keep in mind. Last thing I wanted to kind of go over with you guys is, I mean, you can't really see it, but when I got the lift, this side, yeah, let me raise the car quick. I gotta fix those. I gotta fix those plates. Okay, so let's just leave it there for a second. So, okay, this fitting here was actually, this jack was actually spun and facing the outside of the post. I was like, what the hell? What the fuck, you know? So I had to raise the carriage up, set it on a stand or stool, and then I picked the whole jack up and then spun it in there and spun it out this way. So not a big deal, but initially you look at it and you're like, oh, I got screwed, you know, now what? So yeah, just something else to keep in mind. Pick it up, spin the jack around, and then you'll have your fitting back here in the middle. And the hydraulic lines are real simple also. This is just a connector. This line that goes through here just runs straight through into there. I know some of the other ones have a T in the middle. This one is real easy. I don't know if the Master Series is different, but it's just a straight hose. Goes in here, and this jack has the double fitting on it. So then it comes out here. Obviously they supply you with all this. I mean, it's all supplied, and then the hose comes up. You just put this hose on here. The Master Series also, I think I already said, but comes with the steel reservoir, nice motor. Yeah, and then it comes with, this is another thing that I didn't kind of understand just looking at it, and there's not a whole lot of explanation in the directions. These are the limit switch wires. They just had them kind of flopped out. These just pull in and pull out. Obviously, I haven't crimped them. I think what I'm going to do, and this is the limit switch right here. So from the inside, I just put in a screw here and here. You can kind of see in the directions, but initially it's confusing. You guys can see them there. Just two Phillips heads that are kind of flush, chamfered, whatever. So this is your limit switch. Once the lift comes up and hits this, obviously it shuts the rams off. So this, I think I'm going to put, I'm not sure yet. I'm either going to move it completely to where it'll stop it here, or I might put it somewhere up on those pipes I ran on the top, because then that way I can put kind of like a Nerf, some sort of pool noodle, maybe take a little piece on here that runs down, and then put like a little pool noodle, so when a roof, because obviously this isn't the only car that's going to be on here, but that way then when the roof of the vehicle that's on the lift hits this, it'll shut it off before it hits that. So just to save you guys the Google search, I run this 650 50 amp plug for most everything I have, all my TIG welder, all that stuff. Ran to Home Depot, these are 20 bucks. This is a 30 amp 250 or 50 amp 250. I forgot which exactly this one is. I think it's like the 650. Pretty sure it's considered a 650. But anyways, your green is your ground. Obviously, the screw is even colored as the ground. And these are your two hot here, left and right, your white and your black. I think. I'm no electrician. None of this piping on the top and this electrical advice here is not, like, I wouldn't take it for, it's just me figuring shit out as I go. So if you want to do this at home, great, it worked for me, but I'm not telling you to do any of this shit. So, but yeah, this is kind of the diagram that I use. And when you get it, it just has these, they're already stripped, so that was pretty nice. The wires are already stripped and they're just hanging. So literally I ran to Home Depot, grabbed this plug, and plugged it in. I have a long cord for my welders, so yeah, that's pretty much it. If there's anything else you guys would like me to cover, let me know. I'm super happy with it. Thing works awesome. Yeah, let's yeah, I just wanted to get this done, and I will keep you guys updated on some of these projects that I got coming up.